Hello there, and welcome to the tours video for the survival device, the basic, small, medium and large bushcraft camps, and the turret emplacement and the light, medium and heavy small grid defense towers. My name is Wimperman and I am the Chief Designer, Chief Builder, Chief Architect and Chief Dumbass of the Survival and Defense series of vehicles, or in this case, static structures. Now I have put the chapters in the description that go to each of these builds, so if you're here from the workshop for one of these items, you can skip in the timeline along to the build you're here to see. But I decided that all of these should be in one video just to make it easier for me, really, and to save a bit of time. Right, so we'll start with the survival device as the first vehicle, air quotes, the first static structure in the survival and defense series. Now this is supposed to be an upgrade from the portable constructor. Now the original, which was built before the game was released, was actually, the paint scheme was based on the original portable constructor. There may be some of you who might remember that this actually had some blue on it. I think it's the darker grey bits on this were originally blue. It might have been the light grey, I can't really remember. So I finally got round to updating it, and the update includes some of the weights and volumes stuff, including of course a container controller with container extensions. Right, so I think actually this is the front of the vehicle, but I suppose it doesn't matter, and it's not a vehicle. But anyway, let's go through its features. There isn't much. In through here we have a 1625 cargo container and a large cargo box with a constructor, which I accidentally forgot to set the input for the... Anyway, I'm sure everybody can figure that out, I suppose. It also has a clone chamber if you want to respawn, or need to respawn. It has two mini fridges that come turned off. That's the wrong button. Come turned off by default. And it also has, as you can see, an O2 station and an armor locker. And then, excuse me, can you close the door? Thank you. And then in through here, we have another large cargo box and a space for a medic station. Now, power and fuel and air wise, it has a small, I can't remember where now, well there's the core. There is a small generator in here somewhere. There you go, there it is, it's near the top. It has, I think it's 5 small fuel tanks. Let's have a quick look in the CPU statistics. Fuel tanks 5 small. It has 2 O2 tanks for feeding that O2 station. CPU wise, as you see, it's just shy of 3000 out of the 5000 limit. And it is made of carbon composite, which of course you can upgrade if you like. Oh, the container extensions, by the way, are in the bottom behind the carbon composite here. They're the base of the structure, apart from that one block. Yeah, there's a better view of them underneath. Oh, and as you can see, it has 4 docking pads. Oh, also, it has a couple of signals. One to turn on and off the constructor, one to turn on off both fridges at the same time, one for the Wi-Fi just to save a bit of power, and one that will close the doors that are open. And the one at the top is the lights for lighting up the area in the night time. Okay, on to the next one. So here is the basic bushcraft camp. Now, I built the bushcraft camps because I always wanted something extra to go around the portable devices, and this was one of the things I wanted to do for a long time. Now this one is very basic, hence the name. You get a small cargo box and a core, that's it for devices. And the structure itself, you have a lean-to, and this is supposed to be like bark strips making up the lean-to, and a fallen log is what that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a seat, and it is all made of carbon composite because it's supposed to be wood, you see, and you get carbon composite from wood. Or can you? Well, there isn't. Either way, there isn't wood for small grids, so it has to be that or steel, and steel makes less sense. Right, let's move on to the next one. So here is the Small Bushcraft Camp. Again, this was made to go near or around the portable devices that you might want to put down, but this is it has a little bit more functionality to the basic one. So as you can see, I have what's supposed to be a destroyed hover quad from my first run hover vehicles series. And that hover quad contains the core, the generator, the one fuel tank, and a small cargo box and a mini fridge on top. Structures wise, you also get on top of the lean-to, which is now fully made of logs, is the idea of that. You also get a small tent. Let me just show you. That is crouch underable with a small cargo box inside, and of course bright orange, lovely. You also get the same log seat from the previous bushcraft camp, and you get a chopping station with an axe, which the LCD projector is there. There are a couple of signals. They're not too important. There's one for turning on and off the fridge and one for the tail light, which is on the back of there. I thought it would be fun to keep the tail light intact, although actually that is now a light rather than the flare that is actually on the hover quad. Right, so let's move on to the next one. So here is the medium bushcraft camp. Again, it's an upgrade from the last one. So this one comes with another destroyed vehicle, although this isn't anything that I found in the blueprints. I just sort of threw some blocks together. But again, this contains your core and your generator and the large fuel tank there. Now, this bushcraft camp comes with a constructor, as you can see, and a large cargo box, which is actually set to the input and output. I actually remembered on this one. The mini fridge is under the log lean-to here. The constructor, as you can see, is under a tarp lean-to, supposedly. You get the same tent as before, except a different colour. The log has moved position. You get a little bit more with the wood chopping. The axe there is in the side of the large log. And you get a few little bits of fence that kind of add a bit of a perimeter around the bushcraft camp. Again, it's all made of... It's all made of carbon composite except for some of these damaged steel blocks, which of course are made of damaged steel. Although the full blocks that are on here are still carbon composite. Elion, could we please get some damaged carbon composite? Right, let's move on to the next vehicle. Well, structure. And the last of the bushcraft camps is the large one. So this one has the wreck of a hover digger under here, where I've removed the thrusters and given it just blank blocks instead. These are carbon composites, but again, this one contains the fuel tank and the core. Does it contain the core? Actually, no, I don't think it does. Yeah, the core is over there. Okay, so this is just the fuel tank and the container extension. Now, this is basically the same container as the one that is found on the hover driller, but I have added a few damaged blocks, so it is slightly less of a volume. So we have some pipages, one going from the fuel into the generator for power. The generator is then connected to the constructor and the fridge via some wires, supposedly. The constructor is then connected back to the ore and wood. The cargo container. Yeah, it wasn't ore and wood on the original vehicle, but I have changed it. As you can see, this one comes with a Wi-Fi. The core is there, and this one also comes with an armor locker that is just placed on the floor under the lean-to. As you can see, this lean-to has been expanded into an L shape, so I basically took the tarp of here and took the tarp away and made it wood logs, wood air quotes of course. You also get a slightly bigger tent, which comes with a floor and a couple of windows. There's nothing in there, so you can fill it with whatever you want, a pretend bed, or you can fill it with storage if you like. You get, I suppose you could call it a stool, or maybe pretend it's a table. You also get the same log seat out here with the wood chopping thing. You get some of the same perimeter fencing as well. The wrecked vehicle is under a olive green tarp that's being held up by some thinner logs. And then over here we have, well, it's sort of a hunting tower slash guard tower slash high hide. Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. I don't mind that. Okay. Yeah, it'll do. It's damage. Yeah, so obviously the ladder isn't functional, but if you can jetpack up onto it, you've got a place to shoot down at some predators, maybe. So that's the idea of the little tower here. And underneath, as you can see, there is a couple of bits more of storage. Oh, and this one is almost completely carbon composite as well. Obviously, there's some container extensions and some destroyed steel. There is also some actual steel blocks over here that makes up the legs of the hunting tower high hide jobby. The idea is this, is whoever built the bushcraft camp, me, has found little bits of wreckage and sort of brought bits back in order to build the tower. Obviously this one wasn't long enough, so I've had to use a bit of log on top, is the story there. Yeah, right, that's the end of the bushcraft camps. Let's move on to the defensive emplacements. So this is the first one. This is a new build. Actually, I should have said that all of the bushcraft camps are new as well. They're not refits of old builds. This one is the same. It's not an old build. We will get to the defense towers in a bit, but I wanted a smaller one actually to use with the bushcraft camps. I didn't want anything too big. So this one clearly comes with a Gatling turret on top. Now it is mostly carbon composite, but its armor is thin steel. So these shapes here, and then the ones at the side here are thin steel. The core is in the top here. Now the idea of that is to sort of, if you take damage here and you lose the core, I wanted it to be as little damage as possible rather than having the core buried behind, you know, the generator and the fuel tanks and stuff. I thought it would be best if you're going to lose the core to only lose the core. It would then be easier to repair, is the idea. A small generator powering it, 4 large and 1 small fuel tank for the fuel, and its ammo container, which is on the back, as you can tell by the way, back loosely, by the way the turret is facing. So the ammo container is on the back and it's 1250 SUs. And that entire layer, I believe, is the container extensions. Yes, that's right, in this one. I keep going to say vehicle. There are a couple of signals. We have lights as a device group for lighting up the area, and the turret comes turned on by default. The targeting settings of the turret is very simply the anti-infantry targeting settings that I have, or that I choose. Right, let's move on to the next one then. So here is the light defense tower. Now this one is made of steel, apart from the steel blocks on the previous one, which is now carbon composite. Just add an extra little bit of hit points without costing too much. I would recommend upgrading these. Actually, I forgot to say with this as well, I would recommend upgrading the blocks to steel or hardened steel as and when you can. Same with this. So it comes armed with 5 Gatling turrets that are set to the following targeting settings. Again, it's anti-infantry. The core again is near the top. Underneath there is a Wi-Fi to help you with refilling it with ammo. The generator is below. This is a tier 2 build because the turrets add quite a lot of CPU use. Then the base of it is exactly the same as the turret emplacement. It's the same 4 large and 1 small fuel tank, and the same, oh, slightly bigger actually. Oh, that's right, because hang on, here we go, let's compare these. So the the shaft on this is only 4 blocks high, and then the base is only 2 blocks high, and each one gets slightly bigger as we go along. So the base on this one is 3 blocks and the shaft is 5, which of course affords more room inside. That's why the ammo controller is slightly bigger on this. It doesn't really need a ammo container that big, so if you would like, you can sort of dig around in here. So that there is carbon composite, and that there is, no, sorry, that there is steel. That is steel as well. I'm not sure why it's not showing me. There you go. Hull extended small, whatever. But the extra container extensions are below this and around the CPU extender, if you would like to have a play around inside and maybe add some more fuel perhaps. Maybe it's not lasting as long as you would like. Right, let's move on to the next one. So here we have the medium defense tower. This one again is made completely of steel. There is again a tiny bit of carbon composite for additional armor. Like the last one, this one, the base of this one is 1 block more, and then the shaft again is 1 block more. Of course I'm saying shaft because they are a little bit phallic in shape, as I say in the description on the workshop. As you can see, it also has a personal barricade around the base, so you can take cover behind here and help fight whatever drones are coming in, or raptors or whatever. It is armed with a single Gatling turret, which is still set to anti-personnel, but it also has 4 rocket turrets, which actually does take the CPU down. And this is actually a tier 1 CPU, takes it down by quite a lot. I forgot to show you the CPU of this one, but as you can see, I mean, it's not over by a massive amount, but it's over the 5,000 for tier 1. But this one isn't even near 5,000. Yeah, so the rocket turrets are set to what I call point defense. So they will target drones and small grids and the weaponry of those. Now, it will shoot, I think, as like Xerax soldiers, because I wanted it to shoot drones and they're included in the same targeting group, but they won't shoot at predators. Right, again the core is near the top. This one this time has a block in between it and the rest of the devices. Wireless connection there to help you refill the ammo from, you know, not having to be touching it. Small generator, of course, the same 4 large and 1 small fuel tank. Again, the ammo container is in the back. This one is 3,500, just because that's the room available in here when I made it 1 block bigger. And the signals and stuff is one each for the turret groups, one for the Gatling and one for the rocketses, and one for the lights to light up the area in the night time. Right, let's move on to the last one. So here is the heavy defense turret. Again, this is made almost completely out of steel. Again, I would recommend upgrading it as soon as you can. And again, it has carbon composite for the additional layer of armor. Also, again, the base has been made 1 block taller and the shaft is 1 block taller. Although on this one, the 1 block is added to the top rather than added to the middle-ish. Sorry, I thought I just saw a damaged texture that I had missed, but no. So it is armed with 4 Gatling turrets set to the anti-personnel groupings. Then the rockets are again set to point defense. They are there, the same place as that one. And then on top is a plasma turret, which I've set to heavy weapons, or heavy turrets. And the targeting of that is all of the grids. So yeah, and any capital vessel, small vessel or hover vehicle, it will target. I made the mistake of setting it to bases, just not thinking, of course, why would you set this near an enemy base? But the thing is, I'd already uploaded to the workshop and I couldn't be bothered to update it just to untick bases on 1 turret, so I left it, stuff it, it doesn't matter. The interior is basically the same again. The core is at the top so that you lose less devices if it gets destroyed, or in the effort of destroying it from drones and stuff. Wireless connection there, a single small generator, and the ammo box again is on the back, and this one is less than the last one, but that's because of the upgrade slots inside. So the ammo container is 2,875, and that brings us on to the upgrade slots. So above the same 4 large and 1 small fuel tank in here is the tier 2 CPU extender, because obviously with all those weapons it would be quite high. It's just over 8,500 CPUs of the 12. So as you can see in here, you can tear out the T2 extender and put the 2 tier 3 CPUs in. Then you put 2 large generators there and there. That will then give you enough power to run the shield, which you put in here. And then the pentaxid tank stands just behind the shutters. Now I will show you real quick. I'm sure most of you get it, but there will be 1 or 2 who maybe, you know, have a couple of questions. I will go through it real quick on how to do this. Let's get all the right components. 2 of those and 1 of those. Okay, so turn it off obviously so that no generators pop as you're picking stuff up. So you're going to need to take up the tier 2 extender and the 2 LCD screens at the back. Can I please see? No, I want. There we go. So that way up. Which way do I want it facing? That way will do. So here and here, that's the 2 tier 3 CPU extenders. We can now turn it back on. Have you shut me in? Yeah. Now, if you can be bothered. What just happened? Ran out of fuel? Ran out of fuel. Okay, filled up. So, if you can be bothered to group the devices again, I put the extenders in the number 1 core and CPU extenders group. You can rename them if you wish. So, generators next. Pick up that screen and that screen. The generators go there and there. Paint them if you would like, if you can be bothered, if it bothers you that they're white. And they go into the powered... No. Poo! And I missed, that's all that was. They go into the power generation block group, along with the small one. And then we pick up these two LCD screens. So the shield generator now goes in standing on its side. Let's put it that way, naturally. Not that it matters too much, so it goes in that way. Again, respray it if you would like. I have given you the shield device group. It's just empty as it comes. And finally, the pentaxid tank. That way. Stands upright behind the shutters, as I said. Again, if you can be bothered, I would put this into fuel myself. If you would like, you can create a new device group, but I consider it fuel. And that's how we upgrade this. So with all those upgrades, it comes to 24,500 CPU of the 30,000 allocated from the tier 3. Did I mention the barricade? So the barricade around the base has been improved slightly. There's a bit more protection from drones on this one, is the idea. A little bit. You can break line of sight with them. Although once they blow a hole in the steel, they would have opened the line of sight. But there you go. Right, so that'll be the end of the tours for all of these vehicles then. Thank you very much for taking an interest in these static structures. I hope you get some use out of them. And hopefully I'll see you in another video for a different build. So thank you again, and goodbye.